All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for all of you who are joining us live, and for those of you who are tuning in after using the link we provided. We have a wonderful presentation today titled COVID-19, Just Another Challenge for Humanity or an Opportunity for a Change in Education. We have our two presenters with us. Georgia Yiptula from SUSI, Montana, 2019, and Sunanda Kumar from SUSI, Montana, 2018. So they each applied to present independently, but then in looking at their topics, we noted there was a lot of overlap, and they happily agreed to collaborate in their presentation today. So we can feature not just one, but two presentations surrounding a similar topic today. So we're very grateful. And I am going to let, as we discussed, Sunanda and Georgia just briefly introduce themselves. And then you can take it away with your presentation. Thank you all.
All right. So greetings from Athens, Greece. Thank you, Katie. I feel very warmly welcomed in this environment, and thank you for this opportunity. All right, SUSI Fellows, hello. Welcome to this joint presentation focusing on the current challenge of COVID-19 and its implications on education. My name is Georgia Yiptula, and I've been teaching English in the primary sector schools in my country for the past 25 years. I'm also a teacher, mentor, and trainer. I'm currently attending a doctoral course, and my research interests focus on the investigation of digital literacy practices and professional identities of English language teachers serving in schools in my country. Let me share with you the outline of this joint presentation. First, my colleague Sunanda is going to remind us all of the SUSI experience and all its valuable gains. Right after that, you will be presented with data and sources of information regarding the global challenge. You will be asked to reflect on innovative strategies and the way educators in Greece and India were engaged in with a view to taking the next step. And during this presentation, you will be invited to participate in a very quick poll and of course comment on what you hear using either the chat box or contributing to the discussion right after the end of our presentation. I will now give the floor to Sunanda to present herself and proceed to the first stage of our discussion. So thank you all again. And I'm very grateful for being here with you because we all confirm that the answers for what we've been going through lie in the potential of communities. So Sunanda, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Georgia. So a warm welcome to everyone. And I feel honored to be a part of the global educators today. So I'm Sunanda Kumar from Delhi, India. So I am a science teacher at Alcon International School. I teach for grades 6 to 8, and I'm also coordinator for academics and environmental education. So I have spearheaded many national and international projects, and I have got published a few articles in the field of education. So my projects are basically for the children who are so keen to work for the community. And so we are doing a lot of efforts, and I am a teacher trainer also, and done a lot of international courses also to have professional development in my teaching service. So I'm eagerly waiting to welcome you and have a great session with you. So I'll just begin with our journey through the Treasure State, Montana. So it is a collaboration for me and Georgia. So this is the beautiful scenic picture of Montana, where we were there. I was visiting in 2018 and Georgia in 2019. So it was an amazing experience. So I would like to brief you about few SUSI influences. So like the journey was so impactful for both of us in terms of, professional development programs like curriculum planning, instructional strategies, academic and social interactions. A few field visits were there. Then we had voluntary work like in the food bank. Then we had a lot of hands-on activities in the schools, universities, and a lot of research work, to know the American system of education. And so like it was a, amalgamation of so many things, it was really wonderful experience for both of us. So I'll just take you to the next slide where I just brief you about our few interactions. Like we had visited a few schools in Montana, so and Charleston also, and in Washington also. So we had a lot of innovative classroom strategies, and we studied about the methodologies, the assessments in the classrooms, and also we visited many places, and we were, made aware of the beautiful programs being undertaken in the state. Like many NGOs are working to conserve nature, like zero waste, climate action, and biking as a sustainable ride system, and bus service every 15 minutes. Then so many things. It was it was a great learning experience for us. And the takeaways, if I would say, the volunteerism and the civic responsibility, that has really attracted both of us. So, Georgia?
Okay, so it
Yeah.
seems that an international experience expands our view of the world and transfers local to a global level. And I'm sure that COVID-19 pandemic has certainly given a big hand to this, to help us to do this, to have this endeavor, and made all educators around the world take the next step forcefully, yet in full awareness of the impact on education. So for the next few minutes, I will refer to the situation in my country, try to connect it to the situation in Europe and the world, and ask you to reflect on the obvious changes that it has brought to the way that we teach. So before starting, I would like to invite you to take part in a very brief poll, and Katie will share some information on the way that participants write. The poll is now open, and you have some time to pick your choices in 3 simple questions so that we have some details which will facilitate our exchange later on. Okay, as you are taking the poll, I will proceed with my presentation. As you probably know, Greece is a very small country in the Mediterranean, a country of 11 million people found in the eye of the immigration and economic crisis very recently. And Greece is unfortunately holding one of the last positions in the OECD's ranking of the countries as far as digital infrastructure in education is concerned. The impact of the economic crisis has been severe and leading thousands of young people to abandon our country and turn to other countries abroad, seeking better career opportunities. So the brain drain phenomenon, as we call it, has really deprived my country of many bright and promising young scientists. However, we can mention and refer to certain innovation initiatives and see them multiplying during the last years on many levels. As for education, efforts to keep educators enter the digitization era have been intensified over the years. And we have experienced some projects such as teachers ICT trainings and the digital school project, which involved the digitization of all course books used for subjects like English language or any other subject taught in schools in both primary and secondary education sectors in my country. In March 2020, just a few days before the first school's closure in Greece, an advanced level 3-month ICT training was launched for approximately 12,000 teachers of all specialties. And then the COVID-19 challenge showed up. And I guess that the big question which was all around was, were we ready for this? Were we well prepared to shift from on-site to online teaching? International research conducted during the 3 years prior to this pandemic outbreak in countries from Saudi Arabia to Japan or from Turkey to Finland confirmed a lack of digital competencies, low participation of educators in digital learning communities, many challenges everywhere in many levels. For example, a lack of equipment, need for more training, and of course, problems which students, our students faced. Were they all able to access digital equipment? Were they all competent enough to make use of this equipment if there was any? So, excuse me, I think I proceeded without meaning to. Okay. In Europe, schools have been closing again and again, reopening maybe. Can you hear me properly? Because I can.
Yes, we
Yes.
can hear you.
Yes,
All
Georgia.
right. Okay. Thank you. And teachers, after the first shock, at least this was what happened in my country, the shock of abrupt shift into online teaching, report feelings of exhaustion due to their efforts to support learners on many levels, both cognitive and emotional. Newly introduced tools, such as the DigComp Edu tool you see at the bottom of my slide here, regained our interest, and it's quite a popular tool right now in my continent, and we will be talking about it in more detail later on. You can see that school and higher education sectors are trying to recover. You can see a map, a world map here, and I will invite you to have a look at the map, which will appear in a while, hopefully in your screens. It is actually a map found in a UNESCO site, and it is a very useful site with lots of information about things happening right now. And if you follow the map, it's interesting to see the number of students affected by this pandemic. It's really amazing. And it's also interesting to see how one country after the other turns blue, meaning that they break from teaching on site, and there is a severe disruption of the teaching and learning process all around the world. I think it's quite, as the time flies, as the time goes by, you see the numbers are rising, reaching billion and 1 billion of students around the world suffering the effect of the pandemic, and almost all of the world map has turned blue by the summer of 2020. And this probably led the Director General of UNESCO to say that prolonged and repeated closures of education institutions are taking a rising psychosocial toll on students, increasing learning losses and the risk of dropping out, disproportionately impacting the most vulnerable. Full school closures must therefore be a last resort and reopening them safely a priority. But the question still is, are we ready for this? Okay, could we have the results maybe of the poll?
Hi, yes, Georgia. I think people are we have a low turnout, so I'm just been chatting.
All right, maybe a bit later then.
Yes, if we
Yes.
can allow a little bit more
Okay.
time, I just want to let people know that there's 3 questions on that poll. Some people are having difficulty submitting, so I'm wondering if you kind of scroll down, you'll see the additional questions, and we'll give people maybe 1 or 2 more minutes.
Yes, of course, of course. All right,
Thank you.
more surveys were conducted after this pandemic breakout, and you can see here some graphs coming from results in a survey conducted in the United States among quite a big number of educators, which reveals low morale among teachers compared to what they used to experience before the pandemic breakout. And of course, an attempt to evaluate the long effects of this whole situation, summarizing these effects in less time spent in learning, stress among teachers and students as well, a change in the way students interact, and lack of learning motivation. And the question which rises is a new one. Up to the moment, a question that all teachers around the world had probably in mind was, are we doing all right? Are we successful while we are teaching? But this global incident has changed it, has changed the tense of the question due to the lurking uncertainty. So the new question is, are we will we be able to cater for our learners' needs in the near future? So Andreas Schleicher and the OECD Directorate for Education and Skills summarizes in these 4 scenarios about what education will be like in the future. So, is schooling going to be extended? Is education outsourced after all? Traditional schooling systems seem to break down or prove to be not sufficient enough for what has come or will come in the future. Maybe we should start seeing schools as learning hubs. Schools remain, but diversity experimentation have become a norm. And opening the school worlds, maybe connecting our schools to our communities, will help fill in this gap that was created. And the 4th scenario, which calls for learn as you go, education may take place everywhere, anytime. And this has proved to be true because we are, at least now in Greece, we are at home. Most of the teachers are at home. Most of the students are at home. Universities are closed. So we have to learn even from home. If you visit sites like this one, which I talked a bit about before, and in the OECD Education and Skills Today, there are plenty of articles and resources which can help you reflect more on the issues of education and what future brings along. The truth is, yes?
I was just going to say, when you're ready, we have poll results for you from 72% of the respondents.
Okay, yes, it would be interesting to see the results now. Yes.
Okay, excellent. Here they are.
All right, so most of the people here seem to be foreign language teachers. Okay, but we do have one teacher of a non-language subject. We have also a consultant and a teacher educator. And as for the question, what was the biggest challenge you faced when you delivered remote teaching? Most of you chose it's more difficult to ensure the students are engaged and learning, which in fact is my personal question as well, because what I experience in my context is that not only students can walk along with everybody. I mean, attend classes, online classes, due to many reasons. So I'm afraid that school dropout rates, or at least this discouragement for learning, will probably increase even in the time to come. And the third question asked for which of the following tools or platforms do you most commonly use? And it seems that Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Classroom, WebEx, this I'm sure has been chosen by people coming from my context as well. Okay, the truth is that we have tried to experiment and use everything available. Not everything was free, not everything was suggested officially in our context, but we tried to do our best to fill the gap that was created. So some years ago, people were talking about what Bransky used as a rather tentative metaphor of digital natives, digital immigrants. And then we listened to Kress and other scholars talking about how we can connect the digital world to the social practices of the citizen, and how we can become competent enough to cope with the new stage in teaching. So this brings me to the next thing I'm going to present to you. And last, before giving the floor to Sunanda, I will briefly present you the DITSComp Endo. It is a self-assessment tool which was produced by the Joint Research Center of the European Commission. And it's drawing from the need to rethink the way we teachers use technology in order to support our learning. And it's based on a framework of 22 competencies arranged in 6 different thematic areas. So what you can do is visit this site here in case you're interested to find out whether your digital competence as a teacher could be described as a newcomer, an explorer, integrator, expert, leader, or pioneer. And there is a self-reflection tool which you can take, you can use yourself. It's available for teachers of primary and secondary education in all these languages you see here, 7 languages. There is a different version for those of you who work for higher or further education, or you are involved in adult education. It's a good chance and maybe a first step to reflect on what you can do with technology while you're teaching and how you can improve. The results of this test will come to your email box after you have submitted it, and it might be the beginning of a nice reflection and discussion. So I will give the floor to Sunanda now. Thank you for being with me for this part. Sunanda.
Yeah, thank you, Georgia, for the amazing presentation. So now I would like you to take to the innovative strategies for online teaching. So the tagline which I have given is logged in during lockdown. So it is actually, the experience of we all educators during pandemic. So how we were, managing with the virtual teaching. Yeah. So let us come to the challenges during this COVID time. So firstly, if we talk about the children and the teachers and the parents and the whole community, there were so many health concerns because the pandemic was actually a concern for us for in every matter, because we were not aware of its effects and how we will overcome it. Secondly, the sedentary lifestyle, because we were all locked indoors. We could not move out. There was lockdown in places and there were restrictions. So the physical activities were restricted. Children could not play out, and they were feeling very bored and little bit sad about it. And then they could not go to school, so no classroom interaction was there, so that lively chats among their peers and interaction with their teachers were not there. Then updating digital literacy, like as teachers, even we had to learn so many new things, and then limited sharing of ideas because we were not actually one-to-one interaction was not taking place. So we had to have, little limitation in this area also. Then missing the hustles and bustles of school. So that was really, what to say, a very difficult situation in these times. Yeah. So, as educators, we all had to be digitally empowered. So, as already Georgia has said, that we had to use lot of digital tools, platforms for our interactions, our webinars, then presentations, and also few of them were Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Google Meet, and so on. So, our teaching online was actually on Microsoft Teams. So we had to revisit our academic curriculum. Then we had to make lot of changes in our co-curricular activities. In terms of the timetable, we had to make it in such a way that the screen time was reduced, and there were asynchronous and synchronous classes blended along with our curriculum. And then we also had physical fitness classes in the morning so that the children don't feel that that lethargy in the morning. And then we had meditation also, prayers were sung in the assemblies, then for the emotional well-being of the child. Regarding the inter-school competitions, we took care that everything is in place. Although we are having online classes, we used to have online competitions in every field, whether it is academic, sports, or co-curricular activities. So the online morning assemblies were based on the basic events of the times, like if some celebrations were there, some cultural function are there, or spring festival is there, or you are inviting some guest, or any national days of the country is there. So we all ensured that everything is taken up during morning assemblies. Then when we come to the assessments, the online assessments were in place, but only thing was like we had to reduce the syllabus to match with the screen time so that the child is not burdened with the content and the most of the screen time. And then we also had online parental meetings once in every 3 months. So whatever issues the child had to face, the teacher had to discuss about the child, everything was conveyed in these meetings. And also we had celebrated our annual function recently, so that was really amazing, a grand function. So every child and parent had participated to make it a big event. So we were actually incorporating everything. And we also gave the parents many online resources. Like if I talk about the government initiatives, like we have CBSE Academic, Diksha, Accelerated Reader. Then we have Scan Academy. Everybody is aware of it. So, just now, Georgia had taken the poll. We also have Kahoot and Mentimeter and all platforms for that. Yeah. So our main aim was to make the child a global learner. So next slide, please, Georgia. Yeah. So mainly we were focusing on the inculcation of 21st century skills, and making stress on communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity of the child. So we were ensuring that even in online, we should blend everything into their curriculum, and the child should feel more happy and connected in the class. Yeah. Next one. Yeah, when I talk about the lesson plans, we had actually reframed the lesson plans. If when we talk about the 5 E's in the lesson plan, that is engage, inquire, experiment, expand, and evaluate. So we made the lesson plan so creative and interesting so that the child is actually eager or enthusiastic to attend the classes. So we had lot of hands-on activities and experiments. If you talk about science, then we had podcasts for them. Then we had videos, PPTs, and game-based learning for them. And when we talk about evaluation, we took the test in MS forms, and everything was, a balanced curriculum for them. And when we talk about the projects, like since I am heading environmental initiatives, so whenever some competitions come, national or international, the children made it, clear that they are going to take part and they are going to do the activities at home. So here you have a glimpse of the, waste management activity. So they are actually creating compost at home, and they have sent us the photographs of that. And I would like to inform you that we won this competition at the state level. So that was a great achievement for us. Yeah, the next one. So when I talk about the creative thinking, how to inculcate creative thinking. So if I talk about maths, then you can see here like how you can get 10. So these are the innovative ways the child has actually designed. So how by subtraction, addition, then division, multiplication, how the creative ways you are going to make 10. So another activity I would like to show. That is art integrated learning. So we are also having interdisciplinary approach in our teaching. For example, if we talk about incorporating dance in mathematics. So this is an idea how the child is going to learn, incorporating dance in the curriculum. And when we talk about literature and art, so how the poem is, like expressed in the form artistically by the child, or even in science, if you talk about how the topic like the structure of a plant or the structure of a flower, how the child is creating that structure using clay, or any other like artistic way using crepe papers or something like that. So we were actually having interdisciplinary approach to teaching, incorporating all other activities into the main curriculum. Yeah. So here I would like to show a few examples where we had to teach about the plants, flowers, and different seeds and everything. So we had a virtual tour of a garden. Then when I talk about a sample holiday homework, so here you can see this is the snake and ladder game. The child likes to play this game so often. And so here in science, we had given them a homework. You prepare a snake and ladder using a cardboard sheet and with your creativity. So make sure that in the ladder you mark the healthy food items, and in the snake, the mouth of the snake, you can mark the junk food. So which shows that at the tail of the snake you have a disease, just to connect with the child and make him understand that how junk food is bad for health. So this was a game based activity for them. So children made beautiful models for this. And then when we talk about embracing SDGs, so all the 17 sustainable development goals are highlighted in our many like activities, like exhibitions. They are making posters, charts, many activities, role plays, theater. So our school is a SDG school and a green school. So that is why we make sure that our all activities are based on SDGs also. Yeah. So now when we come to the culture of assessments, so I would like to bring to your notice here, like when the child comes to the new class, we have a diagnostic test just to assess the child, how much the child knows and what is his previous knowledge. So based on that, we can, understand what is the group of the child, like how we can cater to the differential learners, and how we can cater to them in the best manner. So the various assessment methods, like we have formative tests, we have peer assessments, and then we have many activities which are child friendly. It's like not just online test where the child is writing something or typing something. And this is also based on many activities, creative activities. And at the end of the session, we also have our final exams where the variety of questions are so much that it is really appealing to the child. Yeah, so here I would like to emphasize on our professional development of teachers. So in this pandemic also, although it is online teaching, we were, very sure that we are going to gain information and update ourselves with the new information, what is happening in the globe. So we have a lot of courses for the teachers. So we have done many courses, certificate courses online of many international universities. And then I would also like to tell you that I was a panelist in an international program, the Creator 2030. It is a UN SDG program by Gail Davis. So I was a panelist in that. So it was very fortunate for me to be a part of it. And here, one more thing I would like to say that I'm very thankful to the US State Department, SUSI and ITD. Because of a collaboration, I collaborated with my colleague from Iraq, Mr. Ahmed, and I gave a presentation on virtual teaching to, 17 principals of an Iraq school. So that was a great opportunity I had. So it was, part of this initiative for enhancing education in our country. So this is also a great thing which I would like to share with you. Thank you so much. Yeah, Georgia. I think you're muted,
Yes, I was on mute. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Are there any questions before we move to the last slide of the presentation? I would like to initiate a bit of discussion among us about all the things that you heard from us and maybe more that you have to add. I can see people from many different countries here. We are a small group, but I think that the enthusiasm is not so small. So is there anything that you would like to share? Maybe an experience that you had during these difficult times, something you are thinking about the future challenges, or maybe accomplishments, because this was also a very good opportunity for new things, for new accomplishments.
And I just want to invite people, if they're comfortable and able to, if they want to, use their video, it'd be great to reconnect in person as well, as much as we can. But yes, use this time to continue to discuss this wonderful topic that Sunanda and Georgia have presented in such a interesting and thorough way. Thank you both for your work on this.
You're welcome. Is it my only? Yes, please, Mike.
Hi. Okay,
Yeah.
so Mike from Honduras. It's a pleasure to be here. Tamara, Nick, the rest of you. You know, while it's very interesting to see how we have been coping with this situation and dealing with so many different aspects on this online teaching, which have been, I mean, very, very challenging. My concern will be for the future is how could we provide like some workshop to deal with parents? Because I have noticed that even though, you know, with the kids, eventually they adapt to the whole situation. And since some of them, you know, they're very techy and you could do so many things with them. But I think one of the biggest challenges that we are facing in my country, in Honduras, is dealing with parents. It has been very complicated. So I don't know if we could discuss on this, or maybe you guys have better ideas on how you have faced the situation. And I know that, you know, this should be part of our professional development as well, because it can be stressful at some point, right?
I can't agree more, Mike. Yes, this is an issue.
Yes.
And
So,
I was just wondering, can you share a little bit more specifically about what you've been seeing from parents? Because I'd be interested to see how it is similar or different in different contexts.
Okay, so it seems that, well, some of our parents are also working from home. So the kid is like next to them, and they're like, "Oh, the teacher, what are you doing? My kid needs more attention. I don't think you're explaining that well. Why are you moving on so quickly? You need to slow down a bit." So these little things that could be
Yeah, that's very true.
extra
Even I would,
pressure
yeah,
on
we
teachers.
face the same concern in our country
Oh,
also. Yeah.
thank God.
So yeah, I would just give my experience, like in my school. Even in the initially when we started the online classes in the month of April, we also faced the same issues, like the parents were, expecting more. They were very what to say, they were very concerned about the comfort zone of their child. Why you have given, yeah, why you have increased the timing for my child, because the child is sitting on screen for so much of time, it is bad for his eyes, and you should take care of that. So we had a meeting with it's small groups of parents for each class in the evening when the parents were free. So we interacted with them, and then we took their suggestions. Okay, what exactly is their concern? So we noted all the points, and then we thought, okay, let us revise our timetable in such a way that we will have only 2 to 2.5 hours of study daily, just 2 to 2.5. And in that also, if I tell you, after each period we are giving a break of 20 minutes. And so that means the child can relax, he can drink water, he can have something to eat, and then he can relax his eyes. So that way we reduce the number of periods. And secondly, I would like to say one more thing. We made the few of the subjects asynchronous. For example, in languages, we used to send them videos, podcast, so that the languages periods were for per week, the number of periods were reduced. So like that, we modified the timetables in such a way that they were very happy. So because the screen time was reduced. Now, regarding your question of, you are not paying attention to my child. So we had to actually, guide them and what to say, counsel them that you should give freedom to the teacher. So whatever the teacher wants to deliver, let the teacher deliver. And in case of any concern, you talk in the PTM, that is parental meetings, like twice, once in 2 months we had. So any concerns you have, you can talk there. So, but let the child be, relaxed, and not to have that interference of the parents everywhere. So gradually, they were coming into the situation, and, they got adjusted. And when they saw that the lot many activities are being done, and the exams are the marks are reduced from 80 to, we made the marks to be 40. So finally they were very happy. Now they're appreciating actually. So this is what I would like to tell you from my side. Yeah.
Yes, actually, for the first period of school's lockdown and the shift to online teaching, we obviously all had the feeling of training parents as well as training students to cope up with the new digital world. And it's true that it was time for schools to for families, sorry, for houses to enter the school classroom, and it was a bit awkward at the beginning. And of course, we had to set certain rules. I mean, we had to talk to parents in special meetings. We had explain how we would work from now on. Try to convince them that the time of classes was restricted to 30 minutes for kids in primary here, at least in my country. And of course, the workload was minimized accordingly so that they can have some time of physical activity as well, because it's not easy for a child to adapt to the new living conditions due to the pandemic. But yes, it was been quite stressful for us. It was a challenge for everyone. We have been training parents to send emails, for example. One of the simple routines that we are used to doing all the time. It was not something to be considered, already known to them. So yes, it was a big challenge, and I still believe that even if parents don't really express themselves and say, okay, don't do that, or why are you teaching that way, they might be thinking of it at the back of their head. But I'm also sure that they have realized how difficult teaching is, because we teachers have shown them something that they hadn't seen before. I mean, being in front of an audience of 25 8-year-olds, for example, who are yawning, who are hungry, who are moving constantly on their chairs, is something that I couldn't imagine happening. So it is a challenge in many ways.
It's a great question, Mike. Are there other topics?
Yes. Should I turn on my video?
Hi, Anastasia. Yes, welcome.
Hi.
Good to see you.
You too. I like the background. My house, our house.
Your house, exactly.
Our house. I miss the house. So, Sunanda, and yeah, your presentation was really, really good.
Thank
you.
You
You
so
seem
much.
to present an ideal situation of what is happening in your country and with your students. However, on our end, we had serious difficulties. We couldn't actually do online classes with the children, mostly because a lot of our children do not have access to technology, computers and phones. And a lot of times we have lots and lots of load shedding. So electricity goes every now and then. So it was difficult for all government schools to carry on classes online. So what we had in most cases were private schools are the ones who were able to teach online. So for the other classes, which is a majority of the population, they had no school at all. So at some point, we had the government decide to open schools for examination classes, grade 7, 9, and 12. So they were able to go back to school and be in boarding schools and even day schools for those who are in day schools. So that sort of helped with the situation a bit. But when we look at the results from last year's exams and compared to other years, it was terrible. Very, very poor performance. And then we have the Ministry of Education asking questions like, can the teachers explain why we are having low performance this year? So then you'd ask questions like, isn't it something that is clear? Like it's self-explanatory, you know what happened. So then this year, schools have been forced to open despite the number of cases rising every day. We're having about 800 cases every day up to now, yet schools have opened. Some boarding schools have turned some of their accommodation hostels into isolation facilities. In case a child gets sick, they are taken to the isolation facilities. So we really are in a very different scenario from your scenario.
Excuse me, Anastasia, where are you from?
Zambia.
Zambia.
Yeah, I can understand. Yeah.
So we're in a very different scenario compared to where you're at. And I am afraid of the future of our education if we're not able to come up with solutions to these challenges. I would have expected that when we had the lockdown last year, because schools were closed for about 3 to 4 months, when we had that 3 to 4 months of no school, we could have come up with workable solutions, best practices from other countries, and see how we can improve as a country. But we didn't do that. There was a time when the government decided the national television would televise lessons on TV. They tried that, but with load shedding and no electricity, it couldn't work.
Yeah.
So
I can understand. Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
so
we also had few cases where the children did not have access. So what we did, I can share with you. We had actually posted the few lessons and all through mails to them. Maybe to their relatives who can afford to take those lessons to them, or maybe their parents were called to the school, and then we made a few what to say, the books or some stationery or something like that, and we were giving this to the school people who were there in the school, and the parents used to collect them from there, maybe the notes or some textbooks or some worksheets, assignments like that. So few children in our cases definitely were there who were not able to access to online classes. So that way somehow we managed with our teachings and all in some places. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, Anastasia. I think part of the benefits of this is obviously your presentations, Georgia and Sananda, but also this workshopping of trying to identify the issues and see what can be done. But it is a massive question.
Yeah. It's a great concern.
Yeah. I think we have time for one more comment or question. If anyone has one. I'm hearing
Thank you
birds in
so
the
much
background.
for
I
your
think it
efforts.
sounds beautiful. What was that? Was that Abir?
Yes, Katie, I was thanking the presenters, our great presenters. Thank you so much for your efforts. It was an informative session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abir. Thank you
You're
for your
welcome. Thank
comments.
you. Thank you.
It's fantastic.
So are we about to close in a few
We
minutes?
are. Yes.
Do we have 3 minutes for the last video? Yes?
We certainly do.
Okay, so I would like to finish this meeting with you by thanking you all and inviting you to think about all the efforts you make in order to help your students. And I would like to make you think about what we are actually doing. I mean, teachers around the world are maybe the second in the rank heroes of our time, after doctors who are trying to help and save human lives. We are so desperately trying to save human spirits, and this is equally important, I think. So I would like to say goodbye to you all by inviting you to listen to a wonderful Greek poem cited by Sean Connery, and the poem is called Ithaca. is a poem I love, and I think that most people, Greek people, love this poem because it reminds of the long journey that the Ulysses took while trying to go back home after the Trojan War. And it's a lifelong journey, and it's at this very moment it looks very similar to what we are doing. I mean, traveling through our teaching career and trying to reach at the end the destination, which is the well-being and the progress of our students. But at the same time, we have to make up some time, find the time to stop and look at ourselves and see how great we are doing, and feel proud of what we do, because we are trying to become better. And I think that this says something about the teachers. So I will stop here and share my screen once more and invite you to listen to the music and the lyrics of this poem.
as you set out for Ithaca. Hope that your journey is a long one, full of adventure, full of discovery. Lystragonians and Cyclops, angry Poseidon, do not be afraid of them. You'll never find things like that on your way, as long as you keep your thoughts raised high, as long as a rare sensation touches your spirit and your body. Lystragonians and Cyclops, wild Poseidon, you won't encounter them unless you bring them along inside your soul. Unless your soul sets them up in front of you. Hope that your journey is a long one. May there be many summer mornings when with what pleasure, what joy, you come into harbors seen for the first time. May you stop at Phoenician trading stations to buy fine things, mother of pearl, and coral, amber, and ebony, sensual perfume of every kind. As many sensual perfumes as you can. And may you visit many Egyptian cities to learn and learn again from those who know. Keep Ithaca always in your mind. Arriving there is what you're destined for. But do not hurry the journey at all. Better if it lasts for years, so that you are old by the time you reach the island, wealthy with all you have gained on the way, not expecting Ithaca to make you rich. Ithaca gave you the marvelous journey. Without her, you would not have set out. She has nothing left to give you now. And if you find her poor, Ithaca won't have fooled you. Wise as you will have become, so full of experience, you will have understood by then what these Ithacas mean.
So may you all find your Ithacas and reach the destination safely. Enjoy the journey anyway. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you, Katie. Thank you,
Thank you
Samantha.
both.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Katie.
That
Thank
was
you, Georgia.
wonderful,
Thank
both
you,
of you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I put the link in the chat for anyone who wants that, the poem. And also, I will say we will get this link ready for this webinar and disseminate it to you, I would imagine, in the next few days or by next week. So thank you all for coming and participating. Great discussion afterwards. And again, thank you for your work, Sunanda and Georgia. We
you so
have
much.
our next webinar is on March 24th, which is actually with Anastasia, who's here. She'll be presenting. So please tune in on March 24th. Great to see you all. Take good care.
Thank you all.
Stay safe.
Have a nice
Bye-bye.
day.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.